spermatocytic tumor. Spermatocytic tumor, it is a benign tumor. It is a benign tumor. As a result, it is seen at a later age group. Most of you confuse and think that spermatocytic tumor, it can arise at an early age. It is the only thing that arises at the most fag end of the life. It is arising at the 6th decade of the life. Okay. In age distribution, seminoma is seen in the 4th and 5th decade. Spermatocytic tumor in the 6th decade. Important. 6th decade is important here. And yolk sac tumors are also called as endodermal sinus tumors. They arise in the pediatric population. And what is the pathological appearance? Seminomas are soft tan in appearance, multinodular, whereas embryonal cell carcinoma are yellow or tan colored with hemorrhage and necrosis. What's MCQ important for you is that the germ cell tumor which is associated with sarcoidosis in MCQ. Seminoma is the answer. Seminoma is the germ cell tumor associated with sarcoidosis. And the tumor markers are also important. It is CD3 negative, CD117 positive, and something has gone down. It is ALP. It's ALP positive. Whereas your spermatocytic tumor, it is negative for all the markers. Negative for OCT, glycogen, and whatever markers. Spermatocytic tumor, it is late arising. It is negative for all the markers. It is benign tumor. It is a good thing. And these three markers that you need to remember. In a case of embryonal carcinoma, it is positive for AE1 and AE3 and ALP, and OCT also it is positive. And embryonal carcinoma, it is the most undifferentiated potential. It has got 20% capacity. One MCQ that you can get is which of the following tumors can have a, I am marking in red here, which of the following tumors can have syncytotrophoblast? Seminoma 1, embryonal carcinoma 2, choriocarcinoma 3. MCQ again. Fourth option will be given like yolk sac tumor. These three are the tumors which can have syncytotrophoblast. So that is the reason why these three tumors can produce HCG also. And let us go to seminoma. Seminoma, previously it used to have two subvariants like anaplastic seminoma. No longer it is a subtype. It arises from GCINS. Its precursor is GCINS, and 2 lines about choriocarcinoma. It can produce hormones which can produce other symptoms like hyperthyroidism, hyperprolactinemia. And the characteristic of choriocarcinoma is that it is prone to hemorrhage. The metastasis in the choriocarcinoma, most commonly the brain mets that happen, they can undergo hemorrhage either spontaneously or after you start the chemotherapy. So in a patient with this choriocarcinoma on whom you started chemotherapy, he will land up in seizures. So you have to monitor him carefully for any bleeding risk. To spermatocytic tumor, each line that I am going to tell you here is in potential MCQ. Previously called as spermatocytic seminoma, but no longer it is referred like that. It's a distinct entity from seminoma and other GCTs. It's a benign tumor. As I told you, it is in the 6th decade of life. And 2 variants, sarcomatic and anaplastic variant, less than 1%. Do not arise from GCINS, not associated with cryptorchidism, and it's never bilateral. And it's negative for isochrome 12p and does not form a part of mixed gonadal germ cell tumors. These 6 points, again, very important. All negative things about the spermatocytic tumor, not associated with cryptorchidism, not bilateral, not showing 12p. And see, 12p is very characteristic of testicular tumors. This spermatocytic tumor, it doesn't show positive for 12p. Teratomas, nothing so great. I think you can go by yourself. Yeah, one thing that I can tell you is that one characteristic is teratoma is histologically benign, histologically stable but genetically unstable. One potential MCQ. Those who are going for AIMS and PGI, it's can be given as which of the following is true statement. It's histologically stable but genetically unstable because it contains isochrome 12p. Whereas spermatocytic tumor is both histologically as well as genetically stable. Teratoma is histologically benign but genetically unstable. because of this instability, it can undergo malignant transformation into non-GCT tumors. Right. Again, a potential MCQ. GCTs, like any other malignancies, they are hypoechoic on ultrasound. But how do you differentiate non-seminomatous or heterogeneous hypoechoic? Seminomas are homogeneous hypoechoic. Important again. Heterogeneous hypoechoic or non-seminomatous. So you'll be getting in a question. Patient has underwent imaging. Heterogeneous hypoechoic lesion on ultrasound is such of non-seminoma. Heterogeneous, what is this? Homogeneous hypoechoic is a seminoma. Okay. And as I told you, burnt out phenomena is seen with seminoma because of spontaneous regression. Right, the risk of malignancy increases with the size of the lesion. If it's less than 1 centimeter, 50% risk, and it's 80% when the size increases to 1 to 2 centimeter. And one more thing I need to impress upon you is that burnt out will appear as a discrete nodule, or it can appear as a stellate scar, or it can appear as a coarse calcification. 3 findings on ultrasound of a burnt out tumor is nodule, scar, or calcification. If these are present, then go for an orchidectomy. Don't confuse between microlithiasis and coarse calcification. These both are absolutely different. Microlithiasis is a different phenomena, and coarse calcification is different. Coarse calcification, you perform radical nephrectomy. Microlithiasis, you do nothing. You intervene only if the patient has previously had a germ cell tumor. Okay. To summarize, after you diagnosed based on the ultrasound, STM stands for serum tumor markers. At the time of diagnosis, 70% of stage 1, 2 have an elevated AFP, whereas 80% of stage 2C and 3 have an elevated AFP. Embryonal carcinomas and yolk sac tumors secrete AFP. Choriocarcinomas and seminomas, they do not produce AFP. MCQ again. AFP is produced by embryonal and yolk sac. It is not produced by S and C. SC go hand in hand. Half-life is half-life of AFP is 5 to 7 days. Then let's go to HCG. Elevated in 40% of early cancers and 60% of advanced cancers, and most commonly secreted by choriocarcinomas. However, some seminomas can also produce. As I told you, spermatocytic, syncytotrophoblast are seen in 3 tumors. One is choriocarcinoma, other is embryonal cell carcinoma, and the third is seminoma. So that is the reason why these 3 can produce HCG levels. Half-life is 1 day. There can be conditions like ganja use, which can cause a false positive HCG rise. Okay, and let's come to LDH. It's a marker of tumor bulk or tumor burden rather than a marker of the NSGCT. 20% of low stage and 60% of advanced stage can be positive for LDH elevation. Lymphomas can also cause an elevated LDH. Important again, lymphomas can also cause an elevated LDH. 5 variants of LDH are present in the body, out of which LDH1 is most commonly used. LDH1 correlates with the chromosome 12p copy. Okay, so that is the reason LDH, it correlates with the disease burden. It correlates, and it's a non-specific marker. It's mainly used for prognostication rather than diagnosis. Half-life is same, a bit lesser than HCG, that is 24 hours. So the serum tumor markers have been summarized here in percentage basis. You just by heart this one. The take-home message is that embryonal carcinoma and yolk sac tumors, they secrete AFP. Choreocalcin